Now, first up, we have Digital X, and the speaker will be David Barros. David? Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for coming along. My name is David Barros. I work for Digital X Limited. There's something interesting about working in the token advisory and ICO space when you're a listed company, because everyone thinks you're a startup, but we're actually publicly traded and have been since 2014. So what is the vision of Digital X? Our mission is to become the leading blockchain corporate advisory and crypto asset management firm globally. And I'm going to share with you the things that we do today, where we've come from, and how we're going to achieve our mission. So first of all, who are we? As I mentioned, my name's Dave. I come from a fintech background and worked in stockbroking and wealth management. My introduction to cryptocurrencies was in 2015, working with some members of the Ripple team, building a foreign currency remittance prototype. The rest of our team is Lee Travers, our managing director. He's also from a wealth management background at Euros, and is actually on the Australian industry body, the ADCA, as vice chairman. Mike Segal is an interesting character. He actually founded the world's first Bitcoin meetup, and he's highly credentialed in all things technical. And our president, Neil Krishnan, rounds out our executive team. Neil's got a background working as an economist at the US Federal Reserve Bank, and so is really gifted in looking at token economics, breaking it apart, figuring out how the system works and how value is created. So Digital X do 4 things. Firstly, we do ICO management and advisory. This is by revenue the largest section of the business. Secondly, we do blockchain consulting and development. This is a small area, but we do consult to some very large corporates, similar to what the panel was talking about, looking at what problems they have in their business, which actually makes sense by being solved with blockchain technology, and what the steps are to implementing some kind of prototype or proof of concept to looking at that solution. That's something as head of product that I work really closely on, and it's really good, I think, just from an experience point of view, getting your hands dirty and working with blockchain technology. It's just as valuable to find out why you don't need it as to find out why you do need it. The third thing we do is crypto asset funds management. So being ASX listed gives us a great regulatory advantage. And we work with traditional asset managers, institutional fund managers, and family offices to bring them into the crypto space. So we have a traditional wholesale investment vehicle, and I'll talk more about that later. And the fourth thing we do is blockchain investor education and crypto news services. So how do we bring to the mainstream an understanding of what blockchain is and why cryptocurrencies and crypto assets generally may be valuable? So a quick history, we were listed in 2014, originally started out mining Bitcoin in Iceland, where there's good geothermal conditions. Then we moved into blockchain software development and built the award-winning app AirPocket that facilitated foreign currency transactions in 5 Latin American countries back to the US. In 2017, we were actually the first company in the world to sell an allocation of our stock in exchange for Bitcoin when we took on a strategic investment from Blockchain Global. And that also saw a repositioning of the company into ICO advisory. This year, we've opened up our funds management business and, as I said, moving into our news and educational services too, which will be in more detail later. So the share price here is a bit dated. Currently, we're trading at 10 cents US. Being one of the only ASX listed or publicly listed globally blockchain technology companies, we have traditionally been at a whim of the volatility of the crypto asset markets. But in the background, we are consistently building what we believe is a solid business, and we're very happy to report an $8 million first half profit at the end of last year. So our advisory services, we provide pre-ICO advice to companies looking at doing an ICO, what they should be thinking about, an estimate of what the process involves, the costs, etc. We've got a very good relationship in terms of our marketing partners. So we're able to get our clients on both traditional as well as crypto news sources such as Bloomberg, the Australian Financial Review, and many others. Introduction to the Digital X network. Throughout our time as a listed company in the crypto space, we've developed a number of deep relationships with exchanges and high net worth crypto investors that we're able to make introductions to. And the really exciting bit there for me is making introductions to real world use cases where an ICO may be able to implement their idea in real life. And as well as post-ICO advisory. So really the question that that's answering is, there's all these ICOs out there in the world, some that have raised eye-watering amounts of money. But you compare it to the public markets and there's very little transparency about how that money is being used and what schedule, if any, that the company is reporting to and how they're giving their participants information. That's something that we want to solve with our post-ICO advisory services, really streamlining that process and bringing it up to a grade that is a serious institutional investment. This is a quick indicative roadmap. I treat this as a high level of some of the things that you have to consider when doing an ICO. I think the shift from doing a large public sale to doing a much larger private sale recently has meant that this timeline is massively blown out, in my opinion. We're seeing companies roadshow and seek investment for between 3 and 4 months. We've been very honoured to work with a lot of really good token sale projects, 2 of which are actually here today, and I would implore you to sit down with those founders because they're some of the most intelligent and well-regarded people in the space. Those 2 here are Bamboo and the Human Protocol. They're presenting after me, so listen carefully to what they do. Other notable ones have included SingularityNet, Shivom, and Powerledger, which was Australia's first ICO, raising $34 million for a peer-to-peer energy trading platform. Our consulting work looks at smart contract auditing, so code reviews, technical product and platform reviews, and blockchain business development partnerships, as I mentioned earlier. We do this to a number of other Australian public companies that are looking to implement blockchain technology in their business, as well as to the public sector. We've worked with government agencies from the Australian Federal Police to the Department of Health, Immigration and Ageing about what that means for them. And I think at the moment, blockchain is kind of a hammer looking for a nail in many instances. So even just giving them a framework of understanding on how to think through what does this mean for us. Our fund is launched this year, and you can download the information memorandum from our website. Its mandate is to invest 75% of the fund into the top 10 crypto assets weighted by market capitalization. Even if you don't believe that crypto assets have any value, simply as a non-correlated asset class, you're able to improve your Sharpe ratio and theoretically achieve some alpha. 25% of the fund is also committed to pre-ICO and special opportunities, which is really beneficial because it has access to the Digital X network of up-and-coming ICOs. So some of the problems that solves for people wanting to get into the crypto space, particularly in an institutional capacity, is that individual selection of crypto assets is extremely difficult, simply because the information is either incomplete or just not there. So that's why we take an index approach, in part because we believe that a passive investment approach has been superior. But it is capped at a 20% allocation per asset. So if you were to buy it purely on the index, you'd end up owning almost 50% Bitcoin. We cap that at 20%. The team on our investment side is Tim Davies and Robert Wood. So Tim's got an interesting background. He was one of the first Australian fund managers to properly go into China in 2003, and he sees a lot of similarities, namely that there's a huge opportunity and it's difficult for outsiders to get access to the information. So he's taking what he learnt there and applying it to the crypto space. We have Coin.org, which by itself as a 4-letter domain with the .org is worth between $500,000 and $1 million, but we want to turn it into an excellent investor education resource. And we also have a joint venture with our media team, Multiplier, who really work with companies on getting their message out and communicating with the people in their community in the most effective way possible. This is some of the coverage we've got, and that's my 10 minutes up, so thanks very much.